Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay a report of the Committee on Government Assurance and Implementation on the status of implementation of the assurance to upgrade, rehabilitate, construct, and equip health centers in local governments, install CT scans, oxygen plants, ICU equipment in all regional referral hospitals. I beg to lay the report, minutes attached, and the annexes. I beg to lay, Right Honourable.
Honourable Minister, kindly don't go. We have a number of questions for you.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to present a report of the government assurance and implementation on the status of implementation of the assurance to upgrade, rehabilitate, construct, and equip health centers in local governments, install CT scans, oxygen plants, ICU equipment in all regional government hospitals. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee looked at these following areas. The committee focused on the upgrade of health centers 2 to health center 3. The committee looked at the construction of new health center 3s, equipping of the upgraded health centers and newly constructed health center 3, recruitment of health workers in upgraded health centers and newly constructed health center 3. We looked at the installation of CT scans, oxygen plants, ICU bed equipment in all regional referral hospitals, distribution of oxygen cylinders to all health centers 4, rehabilitation of Busowe General Hospital, construction of a new Soloti Referral Hospital, and lastly, a reconstruction of Chilembe Mines Hospital. Right Honourable Speaker, the report is available, so I'm going to go straight to our findings, observation, and recommendations. On the upgrade of health centers 2 to 3 and construction of the new health center 3. In 2019, Parliament approved a loan request of funds amounting to 200 billion under the U-Gift program to upgrade 124 health centers 2 to 3 in sub-counties without government-owned health centers 3. To implement government policy and pledge of establishing at least health center 3 per sub-county across the country. In 2001, Parliament approved an additional external borrowing of shillings 352.2 billion under the U-Gift 2 program to cater for, among others, construct and equipping 62 new health centers 3. However, the committee found out that only 2 health centers 2 out of 124, that is Kaina Health Center 2 and Kafujo Health Center 2, both in Itungam, have been fully upgraded to health centers 3 by the time the committee did the oversight. Works to upgrade 41 health centers 2 were ongoing, with the majority of the project at less than 50% progress. The details are attached in Annex 2. Upgrade of the remaining 81 health centers 2 had not started. The committee established that out of the 62 health centers 3 earmarked for new construction under the U-Gift 2 program, only 3. Kasanga Health Center free, Kakindo Health Center free in Kakumiro, and Kikoma Health Center free in Chankwanzi had been completed. Construction of 28 health centers free was still ongoing, while works for 31 health centers free had not yet started. See details in Annex 3. The committee further established that the progress on implementation of various construction projects of new health centers free and upgrade of health centers 2 to 3 were largely characterized by defective works, prolonged delays in completion of contractors, including UPDF brigade, due to lack of supervision by local government leadership. All project-related decisions, including contract award and the procurement of equipment, were managed by the central government. Non-compliance with standard projects design. The committee discovered there was absence of essential documentation regarding contracts and BOQs. The committee discovered that delays in release of funds by the Ministry of Finance, all of which affected effective execution of the projects. There was double payments to some of the contractors by the Ministry of Health, arising from change of policy to award contracts, particularly to the UPDF Indian Brigade. A case in point is shillings 400 million for completion of Obey Health Center 4 in Lila City, maternity ward, and theatre that was channeled directly to the Ministry of Defense by the Ministry of Health, were aware of another running contract with BP Enterprise and Construction Company Limited. See a letter attached in the Annex 4. Other specific examples of such construction and upgrade projects include Kachulu Health Center 3 in Butebo, Rushere Health Center 3, Luhere Health Center 3 in Imbalala District, Chichwamba Health Center 2 in Imbalala City, Chavakuza Health Center 2 in Masaka City, and Kabo Health Center 2 and Gayaza Health Center 2 Mubende. The committee observed that whereas Parliament approved shillings 552.6 billion to address the infrastructure gaps in local government countrywide, a significant number of sub-counties and town councils across the country still don't have health centers free. No work had been done on the 81 out of 124 health centers too, earmarked to upgrade to health center free. Similarly, 31 out of 62 planned new construction of health centers free in sub-counties without any government health centers free had not even started. The committee observed that the upgrade of health centers 2 and the newly constructed health centers 3 were not fully functional, largely due to inadequate staffing. There was adverse mismanagement of contracts by the Ministry of Health that involved re-awarding of already running contracts to UPDF Indian Brigade in total violation of PPDA Act. There was a likelihood of fraud in the management and implementation of various U-Gift projects across the country. Government had not yet fulfilled its pledge of establishing health centers free in every sub-county across the country. The committee recommends, number 1, the Office of the Auditor General should carry out a forensic audit into the implementation of U-Gift 1 and 2 projects under the health sector, with specific focus on the upgrade of health centers 2 to 3 and construction of the new health centers 3, to determine whether there was fraud and report to Parliament within 6 months from the time this report is adopted. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Health should develop a clear roadmap on how government intends to address the current infrastructure gaps of health centers 3 at the sub-county and town council levels across the country, and report to Parliament within 3 months from the time this report is adopted. The committee recommends that government should ensure that the presidential directives are implemented within the confines of the law. Right, Honorable Speaker, we consider the equipping of upgraded health centers 2 and newly constructed health centers 3. The committee found out that the Ministry of Health procured and delivered medical equipment to the district local governments across the country by installation in the health centers earmarked for upgrade or construction. However, in a number of instances, the medical equipment was delivered to health centers prior to the completion of the projects, which exposed the equipment to the risk of gross mismanagement. See attached Annex 5. In other instances, the Ministry of Health delivered medical equipment to health facilities which did not have the required staff in place. Some of such cases include Charwa Buganda Health Center 2 in Mbalala City, recently upgraded to Health Center 3 and partially equipped, but was operating with only 2 staff, a registered nurse and an enrolled midwife, out of the staffing level of 55. In Chitabazi Health Center 2, Masaka City, also recently upgraded to Health Center 3 and fully equipped, but was still operating as Health Center 2 due to inadequate of medical staff. Anyangatira Health Center 3 in Irira, with new infrastructure in place, but the facility had only 1 medical personnel on the ground providing all services, including maternity services. In Chichuru, Health Center 3 had partial equipment delivered, but had no personnel to operate them. The committee observed that the Ministry of Health procured and delivered medical equipment to incomplete health centers, and all without the required medical staff, which rendered such equipment redundant and at high risk of misuse and vandalism. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Health should carry out an inventory of all the medical equipment procured and delivered to the various health centers and report to Parliament within 3 months from the time this report is adopted. Right, Honorable Speaker, we also looked at the installation of the CT scans, oxygen plants, ICU bed equipment. The installation, the committee was informed that government procured and delivered and installed 15 functioning CT scan machines in 14 regional referral hospitals and Bombo General Military Hospital, including 1 magnetic resonance imaging, that MRI machine in Mbalala Regional Referral Hospital. See Annex 6. The committee found out that CT scan services were only accessible to patients at a user fee ranging from shillings 120 to 250, depending on the type of imaging or investigation. The charges also varied across regional referral hospitals. For example, at Jinja Regional Referral Hospital, among others, patients pay a fee ranging from 120 to 150, depending on the test done. At Mubende Regional Referral Hospital, a standard fee of 150 was set across all tests, while in Mbalala Regional Referral Hospital, 180 was charged for non-contrast procedure and 250 for contrast procedure. The committee established that in some cases, hospitals gave waivers to selected patients after further scrutiny and under exceptional circumstances. The committee was also informed that the charges for CT scan services were a result of the guidelines on the user's fees provided by the Ministry of Health after taking into consideration the input and maintenance costs of the equipment. See Annex 7. The committee further found out that in some regional referral hospitals, the infrastructure housing newly installed CT scan machines was not available and lacked trained medical personnel to operate the machines. This compromised the functionality of the equipment and the safety of the patients as well as the personnel operating the equipment. One such case was in Fort Portal Regional Referral Hospital. The equipment was installed in an improvised room. There was lack of specialized medical personnel to operate it and had already been broken down by the time we visited. The committee observed that in some regional referral hospital, the infrastructure housing the newly installed CT scan machines were not appropriate. This exposed the equipment to gross risk of damage. There was variation in the fees charged to access CT scan services, as already mentioned. The user fee charged to access the CT scan services were a hindrance to the uptake of the CT scan services, especially among the low-income earner patients. There was a general lack of qualified staff to operate the newly installed CT scan machines. The committee therefore recommends that the Ministry of Finance should prioritize release of funds, shillings 8.7 billion, as budgeted for in the financial year 2024-2025 for construction and remodeling of the appropriate infrastructure to house the CT scan machines in all the regional referral hospitals. The committee recommends the Ministry of Finance should provide adequate funds to all regional referral hospitals in the budget for the financial year 2024-2025 to cater for the routine maintenance of the CT scan equipment to ensure their sustained functionality. We looked at the installation of the ICU bed equipment. While the Ministry of Health reported that government procured and delivered 143 ICU bed units in 14 regional referral hospitals, 5 selected national referral hospitals, and Bombo Military General Hospital, Annex 7, the committee established that most of the ICU bed units delivered in regional referral hospitals were still boxed and kept in stores due to lack of standard ICU infrastructure at the respective regional referral hospitals. That means they are not already deployed for use. In other cases, regional referral hospital administration had put some of the ICU equipment to other use. For instance, in Imbala and Masaka Regional Referral Hospital, the ICU bed equipment which were delivered by the Ministry of Health were still kept in store because works in the surgical complex meant to house the new 10-bed capacity ICU had stalled due to lack of funds. Similarly, in Buhinga and Imbala Regional Referral Hospital, some of the ICU bed equipment were still in stores because they lacked adequate space to accommodate them, and the government had not provided for any future infrastructure development to cater for standard ICUs. In Ijinja Regional Referral Hospital, the committee established that a new 20-bed intensive care unit was still under construction, yet even the projected space looked insufficient for the overwhelming patient population, given the old ICU building was also under renovation. In Iguru Regional Referral Hospital, the committee uncovered ambiguities in the receipt and usage of the supplied ICU beds. The committee was informed that the hospital received 10 ICU bed units, but had only installed 4 in the ICU. The in charge at that time, the committee visited, the in charge of the ICU, who was not a qualified intensivist and could not account for the 6 beds at the time the committee visited. On being probed further, she disclosed to the committee that the balance of the beds were in a different location, including in the store, 2 in the store due to the missing parts, while others were being used in wards. The committee visited the wards, established that one of the beds had been dismantled and used in orthopedic wards, while another were being used in nutrition room. The committee further engaged the store assistant, who denied having received any ICU bed units during his term. He, however, disclosed that 2 beds had been brought into the stores on the day the committee visited the Guru. We don't know where these beds were, but when they saw us, they brought them. The committee observed that in most of the regional referral hospitals, I can jump that right on because it's almost, I go to the recommendation. They are the same what I've been reading. The recommendation, the committee recommends that the minister responsible for finance provide adequate funds to the referral hospitals in the budget of 2024-2025 to cater for the construction completion of the infrastructure meant to accommodate ICU bed equipment to ensure their installation and utilization. The committee recommends that the Minister of Health should train and recruit specialized medical workers to manage ICU in regional referral hospital. The committee recommends that the Minister of Health should investigate the handling and the management of ICU equipment delivered to Guru Referral Hospital, including donations from JICA, and report back to Parliament in 2 months from the time this report is adopted. The committee recommends that the Minister of Health should conduct an inventory of all the ICU bed equipment delivered to the regional referral hospitals and report back to Parliament in 3 months from the time this report is adopted. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee looked at the installation of the oxygen plants in regional referral hospitals and the distribution of oxygen cylinders to all the health centers for. The Minister of Health reported to the committee that government procured and delivered 20 new oxygen plants to the national referral hospitals, to the regional referral hospitals, and Bombo Military General Hospital. The procurement of the 4 new oxygen plants at Hoima, Lila, Mbale, and Mbalala Regional Referral Hospital had not yet been concluded. See Annex 9. In addition, government had procured and distributed 10,000 cylinders across the country to all levels of the health facilities up to health centers for, as indicated in Annex 10. However, the committee found out that none of the newly procured oxygen plants at various regional hospitals visited was operational. For instance, in Buhinga, the plant was yet to be installed. In Mbalala Masakandi Guru Regional Referral Hospital, construction of the infrastructure meant to accommodate oxygen plants had not yet been completed. The UPDF engineering, the picture is there, for instance, in Guru, was the one which was handling. Additionally, the Minister of Health indicated to the committee that the newly procured oxygen plants could not operate on low capacity transformers currently in the regional referral hospitals. It required shillings 13.7 billion to upgrade the transformers and voltage stabilizers to the capacity enough to run the oxygen plants in all the regional referral hospitals. Government had provided only 2.2 billion in June 2023 to functionalize 5 out of the 20 plants, leaving a funding gap of 11.5 billion for power requirements to run the remaining 15 plants. In addition, At the time the committee did the oversight of this, the already existing, that is the old oxygen plants at various regional referral hospitals, had been out of use for several weeks. For example, in Masaka and Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, the old oxygen plants had broken down. Similarly, in Buhinga Regional Referral Hospital did not have a functional oxygen plant at the time the committee did the oversight. The committee established from the officials at the respective regional referral hospitals that the delays in repairs were due to lack of the necessary expert and funds. The committee also noted high costs of electricity, that is the small c, and maintenance. High costs of electricity and maintenance were a major factor affecting smooth operation of the existing oxygen plants. For instance, at Masaka Regional Referral Hospital, the existing oxygen plant were reported to consume an average of shillings 20 million per month, a cost way above what the hospital budget can accommodate. The absence of functional facility-based oxygen plants had forced regional referral hospitals to resort to seeking oxygen supplies from external sources. In Masaka Regional Referral Hospital, administration had opted to procure oxygen from roofings in Inamavi. Mbale Regional Referral Hospital was relying on Soroti Regional Referral Hospital for over 500 additional oxygen cylinders, supplements this oxygen supplies from the national medical stores. Buhinga Regional Referral Hospital was entirely relying on oxygen supplies from national medical stores. The committee observed the Minister of Health procured new oxygen plants without putting in place necessary infrastructure. The newly procured oxygen plants cannot run on the current low voltage power transformers in the regional referral hospital. The current budget for the regional referral hospitals cannot sustain the smooth operation of the new and existing oxygen plants in the regional referral hospitals. Government assurance to install new oxygen plants in the regional referral hospitals had not yet been met. The committee therefore recommends that the Minister of Health should ensure completion of the required infrastructure and installation of the newly procured oxygen plants in all regional referral hospitals within 6 months from the time this report is adopted. That the Minister of Finance should provide funds amounting to 11.5 billion in the budget of 2024-2025 to facilitate the upgrade of the transformers and voltage stabilizers to the capacity sufficient to run oxygen plants in all the regional referral hospitals. Government should provide for adequate funds to the regional referral hospitals in the budget of 2025-2026 to especially cater for the increased recurrent expenditure resulting from installation of the new oxygen plants. Right Honorable, we looked at rehabilitation of Usowe General Hospital, and I want to go straight to the committee observation. The other narrative, the honorable members will read. The committee observed that the project works were behind schedule, and the work had not been completed. The committee observed that the UPDF Engineering Brigade did not have any BOQs nor other documents available for verification by the committee. The committee observed that renovation work for staff quarters under the UPDF Engineering Brigade had not yet been done. The committee observed that the UPDF Engineering Brigade was adamant and declined the supervision of district leadership, but instead got guidance directly from the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs. The government assurance to renovate Busore Hospital was not fully implemented at the time the committee visited. The committee recommends that the district local leadership should get involved in the entire process of supervision of the construction works. The UPDF Engineering Brigade should expedite the renovation works for the staff houses in Busore Hospital. The committee looked at rebuilding Chirembe Mines Hospital, and I also want to go to the observation and then recommendation. The committee observes the absence of a fully functional government-supported hospital within Chirembe Mines. The committee observed that the absence of a fully functional government-supported hospital within Chirembe Mines presented a dire health situation for a very large population of over 500,000 people from 6 sub-counties of Chirembe. That is the sub-county of Nyakabingo, Mbunga, Lukochi, Bulembeya, and Charubamba. Despite the dilapidated structures, Chirembe Hospital has continued to offer medical services to the community and its surroundings. The OPM and the local leaders disagreed on the appropriate location of the new Chirembe Mines Hospital. Therefore, the committee observes that the government assurance to rebuild Chirembe Mines Hospital has been broken. The committee recommends that government should fulfill the presidential directive to rebuild and construct Chirembe Mines Hospital at the site provided by Chirembe Mines to ensure utmost accessibility to all the targeted sub-counties and in line with the preference of the local leaders as well as the affected population. The committee recommends that the Minister of Health should reinstate the vote, all the equipment, and the public health fund credit and the credit line and the staff of Chirembe Mines Hospital with immediate effect. It should not keep the vote within the private for-profit entity, as it is happening now. That is St. Mary's Hospital, which they are supporting. The Minister of Water and Environment should be tasked to provide the hydraulic report on its findings about the proposed site of the Mark Gown in Chirembe. There is a site that has a dispute. Right, Honorable Speaker, we also handled a very important hospital which takes care of the people of a very important person in this country who is number 3 and is a Speaker of Parliament. And that hospital is the construction of Soroti Regional Referral Hospital.
Awana bamongere akasente.
Right, Honorable Speaker,
Kiswadde.
Allow me to go through. The committee established